right, let's dive in then. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining the webinar today. Santa Clara University's Leavey School of Business, career services focused session for online graduate business programs. Furthering your career with Leavey is the theme. My name is Junaid Syed. I am an admissions outreach advisor working with prospective students from pretty much every part of their graduate school journey, people who are just starting their search for the right grad program, to people who have been looking for a long time and are settled in with SCU and wanting to shoot forward. And so my job is to support those individuals through the application process. And we're joined today by two very special guests we're really excited about, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Shauna, we can start with you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Shauna Strauss. I'm Senior Associate Director for Online Programs and Employer Relations. So I support all of our online MS and MBA students with your career journey throughout the program, helping you navigate our resources, our workshops, connecting you with our career coaches. So I'm happy to be here and to answer your questions.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joshua Rosenthal. Shauna does an exquisite job in supporting all of our students. So thank you, Shauna. I'm the Assistant Dean for the Graduate Business Programs here at the Leavey School of Business. I have the pleasure of working with career management, admissions recruiting, programming here on campus, as well as with online, and then work within our community, i.e. alumni partnerships and things of that nature. So it's a pleasure. And thank you again for joining us.
Great. Thank you so much, Shauna and Joshua. Again, a total pleasure to have you both on with us today. And then moving on, we're joined by four other extremely special guests that we're really excited to have on. We have a current student and then three alum. And so we'll start off with Pearl. If you can say hello and just introduce yourself. And I noticed it still says student ambassador under your name, although you're a very recent alum. So congratulations and very excited for you. But we'll start with you, Pearl. We'll go to Runa, we'll go to Harpreet, and then we'll go to Sans.
Yeah, sounds good. Hi, everyone. My name is Pearl. I was a part of the online master's program here at Santa Clara University. I just graduated on Saturday, so recent alum. And yeah, excited to talk to you all today.
Thanks, Pearl. And over to you, Runa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Runa Brackeye. I'm super excited to be here. Like Pearl, I actually just walked in the master's graduation on Saturday, which was so much fun, and my family loved it. Just a little bit about me. I've been working in the real estate industry for 12 years now, all through school. And currently I manage a 3.2 million square foot property, which if you're local, you might know Santana Row. So that's a little bit about my background. And anyway, I'm so excited to talk with you today and talk about anything that you might be interested in as far as your MBA journey.
Thanks, Runa. Over to you, Harpreet.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Harpreet, and I was part of the online master's program for the Finance and Analytics department. I also graduated this I would say June. I finished in December, but also part of the class of 2023. And prior, I was actually an undergrad student at Santa Clara. So been a Bronco for my entire grad life, and happy to assist and be of any help for any oncoming and incoming students.
Double Bronco. We love to hear it, Harpreet. And we'll go over to you, Sans.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Sanskriti, or I go by Sans. I also just walked last weekend on Saturday, and I have another quarter left, but super exciting. I was part of the online Master's in Business Analytics program. And yeah, hit me up with any questions you might have.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. Moving on, a little bit of agenda for today. So the next slide is going to talk a little bit about SCU and the Leavey School of Business and rankings and things like that, history. We'll move into the career resources portion, which Shauna and Joshua will present for us. And then we'll do the alumni and student career success portion of the presentation with a few different questions that are we found pretty applicable to people who are in the candidate phase of their journey. And then next steps in Q&A, where we'll talk about, upcoming deadlines if you are interested in applying to one of these programs, and then the questions, of course. So hopefully you've come armed with some questions. And like I said earlier, if not, I'm sure you'll have some that come to you somewhere along the way. So a little bit about SCU and Leavey. Santa Clara University is an enduring lineage and legacy of intellect, integrity, and initiative in the Bay Area. SCU is located in the heart of Silicon Valley. Leavey was founded in 1923. So this year marks 100 years of educating intelligent, ethical business leaders. So very, very exciting around these parts here in 2023. And then Leavey was one of the first business schools in the US to be AACSB accredited, which has earned them a reputation as an institution of innovation and ethics. Covering some rankings, which are usually top of mind for people who are looking at graduate schools. Poets and Quants is a really well-respected business school publication. Their 2023 rankings had the SCU's online MBA program ranked at number 9 best in the country, which is something that was just so exciting when that came through. The Princeton Review, another really well-known publication, ranked the online MBA number 11 best in the country. Poets and Quants, going back to that one, ranked the online MBA number 1 for career outcomes, which is again extraordinary, very exciting because career, what kind of impact your graduate education is going to have on your career is usually one of the top markers or top identifiers of which school you're going to end up going with. And then, of course, something that really ties to that Silicon Valley connection, ranked number 2 for employment in big tech, which is again, something that we're all obviously very excited about. So a little bit about the school, the business school, a little bit about the university as well. We will move on now to the career resources portion, and we'll have Shauna and Joshua take us through the next couple of slides. I'll hand it over to you both, and yeah, it's all yours. Just let me know when to advance.
Okay, so just to go over a few of our resources and how we within career management engage with our students, our main goal is to give you skills that you will use throughout the program and then beyond. So whenever you're in your job search process or you need to enhance your own professional development skills, we're here to provide you with those resources. A big part of that comes from our location and our connection within Silicon Valley. Much of that is through the faculty that are here at Santa Clara, as well as our alumni who go into work for fabulous companies within Silicon Valley and beyond, and as well as our board members who are typically alums who come in and advise on curriculum or the progress of our programs, as well as the career management aspect of that as well. In terms of professional development, we aim to provide several different workshops every single quarter that focus on professional development. This might be one example is emotional intelligence is something that we really try to emphasize and how important that is, whether you're in a management role or whatever your position might be. And so we tried to bring in some external speakers to run some really engaging, intensive workshops focused on different areas of professional development. And that's great for anyone, whether you're in the process of looking for a new job or you're just seeking to really elevate your own skills within your current position. One of our main workshops that we do are these SCU alumni panels. We might have on average 3 to 4 every quarter. A big part of that is one, bringing in networking to you so that you can have more of an intimate networking experience with alums who come onto these SCU panels either on campus or virtually. And even if we have them on campus, so let's say you're not local and you can only attend virtually, we record all of our events and we stream them through Zoom Live anyway. So we try to make it as engaging for those students who are our online students who are not able to come in person. And we also offer a variety of career workshops and webinars every single quarter. And just to give you an example of one that we do that we've offered every fall and spring, it's called our Job Search Series. And this is a weekly workshop where we go through a very specific, detailed job search strategy or process. And we have the same group of students that meet every week. So the idea is to create more of an engaging workshop experience as well. You can go ahead and advance the slide, please. Thank you. A few additional resources. So of course we offer resume review. That's kind of like a foundational service that we offer at the beginning of the fall and the spring quarter. We do kind of a speed run resume review session as you're joining classes for that first week, and we do them virtually. So we have one that's on campus and then one that's virtual to support our online students. One resource that I highly recommend all of our students tap into, regardless of where you are in your journey, is our one-on-one career coaching. So we have around 7 career coaches who have extensive experience within tech recruiting, HR, corporate experience, and you could have like a coaching session once a week if you wanted to. And the idea is that you can be able to meet with these career coaches on any topic. So it could be a resume review, or it could be salary negotiation, or you're pivoting from one industry to another and you need some advice. So we want to make this a high touch experience for you. And our coaches meet virtually. So it's very easy to set up through our platform. All of our coaches are super passionate about the success of our students. And they really get to know our students well. And it's just such a fantastic resource that, hopefully all of our students utilize throughout the program. Webinars, as I mentioned, we really try to revamp our workshops every quarter, depending on trends, industry trends, or what's kind of happening within the job market. Sometimes we have alumni who pitch ideas to us and we tend to run with it. So we really try to get creative with what we offer. Job search resources, we have a variety of different platforms that you'll be able to access. So, if it's 10 p.m. on a Friday and you want to work on your resume, we have several platforms that you can utilize using AI technology. And a variety of other things that you can use, on your own, in addition to that one-on-one support you would get from a career coach or a career management team. The Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship is a really great resource if you are in the startup space. So, for example, there's a pitch competition that you can participate in where they have angel investors and VCs looking to invest in new startups. And it's such a great way to be involved in our alumni community as well, because it's not just current students, but alums that can come back and use the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship as well.
Wow. Great, Shauna. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Obviously, it looks like it's a broad, multi-pronged approach that your department, your team takes to this. So very nice to see, very refreshing to see. Moving on, we'll go into some of these questions that we have for our alum, for our current student. I think I'll pitch it to certain individuals, or each slide to certain individuals. So this first one, about faculty connections, I wanted to hand over to you, Pearl. And really, if you could take us through, how have faculty connections influenced your career thus far?
Yeah, I really took advantage of residency weekend when I first went to Santa Clara, and I met Professor Yuchi Zhang there. And he has so many connections with, corporate product marketers. And that was the field I was in. But I wanted to get into like an Instagram or Facebook, or basically any of the FANG companies. So he connected me to a product marketing manager from Instagram, and she really helped me, you know, with the connection, but also understanding how to professionally interview. She was telling me certain strategies and approaches and what they really look for. So that gave me the inside scoop on what I should be focusing on when I'm trying to review for these interviews. But long story short, I ended up at Google. So it definitely helped me land a career there. And I would really appreciate or I thank Professor Zhang for that experience and his help with that connection. So that is true to me. And I think back to that time all the time and how that helped me get to where I am today. So yeah.
That's amazing, Pearl. How exciting. And Yuji's great for sure. I always hear from currently enrolled students or alum what a great relationship they've been able to cultivate with him and many others. So great. Did any other panelists want to join in? I'm going to encourage you, if I didn't pitch a question to you, if you have something to add, feel free to interrupt me and jump in. So
Sure,
anyway.
I'll jump in.
Yeah, please, Joshua. Thank you.
I really appreciate the example shared because it's true. I you know, when individuals come to Leavey School of Business and you're in the cohort, the main goal is not just to establish relationships with your peers or your classmates, but it is to establish relationship with your faculty. That's the whole reason, sole purpose why they're here at the Leavey School of Business. It's just not to teach, but to work with individuals inside the classroom as well as outside, and to have that strong connection to Silicon Valley or to the industry, whether it's in the entire Bay Area or within California, is to assist you, or when I say you, the student, in their career goals or even personal goals as well. So faculty members really take it upon themselves to work with our students one-on-one. You know, it's not a lecture-based environment at all. It's very collaborative, it's discussion-oriented, it's facilitative, which is one of the reasons why that relationship is built in the classroom, because faculty members can see and identify how our students are outstanding thinkers, they're outstanding critical analysis as well, and they can use that to assist our students to get to their next level professionally with introductions or saying, you know, there's an opening here or within my network. So it's fantastic.
That's great, Joshua. Thank you so much. So useful, you know, and Santa Clara is a place that has really worked hard to cultivate that kind of environment that you spoke about. So appreciate that. We'll move on to the next question here, which I thought was pretty interesting. And Runa, we'll pose this one to you. How has your peer network, either classmates or cohort, influenced your career?
This is a really fun one that I'm happy to answer. So I was part of the online MBA program, and I actually joined the program during COVID. So while I always wanted to go to Santa Clara and I was super excited about joining and starting my MBA, you know, I had the career goal and also the academic goal of completing my master's for many years, as probably many of you also have. And while I love Santa Clara as a Bay Area native, I wanted to go there. I did, you know, apply to different schools and also consider different schools, as probably many of you are. Getting into Santa Clara, I ultimately, through some of these webinars and through talking to the campus recruiters and different people, I'm so excited that I ended up making that choice. But joining during COVID and also joining the online, I honestly thought, you know, this might be more of a self-taught program. That was my preconception, which is absolutely not the case. It was very collaborative, and actually from my very first quarter at Santa Clara, we had you'll have many group projects, and even whether online or in person, you'll be live sort of either through Zoom, meeting separately, arranging to meet with your different colleagues and peers. And I ended up being friends with one of my very first quarter project groups, which we have now, as a friend group of about 7 or 8 close people, gone on 2 different vacations in the last 3 years. We've all gone to Hawaii, we all just came back from Mexico. But more importantly, the connections I made, even, within the close friend group, but with other people in our cohort, have been super, super valuable. It's a very diverse background of students that get placed into the program. Of course, being in Silicon Valley, many people work in tech, but there's also a very significant amount of people who are more entrepreneurial focused, or who are have different various industries. I myself work in the real estate industry, which I've been working in for many years. But I've always also wanted to start my own companies. And with some of the relationships I built with colleagues, not only have we become really close friends, but we also talk about startups all the time. And there's really a lot of different skill sets, even within the program. So we've been able to benefit through that. I know I have two close friends who are more in the venture capital space, and they both continuously check in with me on where my startup goals are, regardless of my full-time job. And they're willing to support me through that. And so you'll really meet friends and colleagues that you'll keep for many, many years to come. And those connections are going to benefit you. Even within my current job, I currently manage Santana Row. My employer sees the MBA from Santa Clara as a very, very positive and lucrative attribute that I now have. And now that we're coming up against our annual reviews, having just now finished, independently, many executives have approached me and know that I've finished my MBA, and are talking to me about further further roles and opportunities within the company. So from a position of being within a corporation, a public corporation, or if you're interested in starting your own businesses, it's a very, very collaborative program, and I've genuinely made some of the best friends and relationships within the program, both faculty and students, that have helped me throughout several facets of my life.
That is amazing to hear, Runa. And I love that you shared that, especially right at the beginning, about how, that you had this well, at that time you didn't know it was a misconception, but you thought,
Yeah.
okay, it's going to be kind of self-paced,
Yes.
doing things on my own. But then when you come in and things start, you realize like what a connected place it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking of online and thinking of COVID and online, I thought I didn't really know what to expect. But from day one of your residency weekend, you're making connections and you're actively speaking to people and seeing them face to face. So it's very collaborative across the different programs.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. And moving on, this next question, I know, I think all of our alum/student guests wanted to speak to this one. So I'll read it off. How do you use the skills you learned in your Leavey online program in your current professional role? And we'll maybe start with Harpreet and then hand it over to Sanskriti.
Yes, absolutely. And so I would say the program allows for everyone to build on a variety of skills, whether it be through classes, whether it be from what a professor may share or a peer may share. So a lot of us are always constantly learning and gathering information. So I think those skills are applicable in any kind of scenario, not just professionally, but I currently work in private banking, and I would say through the finance and analytics program, I was able to gather a lot of the skills, which I was then able to connect with a lot of my clients about, whether it be regarding recent trends in the finance world or just understanding very basic concepts, but being able to relate one-on-one with those clientele and just being able to better understand what the current world is and just understanding the very basics of it. I would say that the program sets up a phenomenal foundation, and it's up to everyone to build on that. And whether it be from connecting with your peers or your professors or even guest speakers in some of the classes, just being able to gather those bits and pieces of information and further using them in your career as you grow. That's always been the key.
Thanks, Harpreet. Sanskriti, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, for sure. I think the skills you learn in all the programs like start the second you begin residency. Like I remember one of the first things we learned was like how to pitch yourself, how to have a like elevator pitch. And something like that, I think takes you like, it'll stick with you for your entire career, your entire life, how to really introduce yourself. So something like how those soft skills, from that to like all of my technical skills that I learned like actually in the MSBA program. I'm a data engineer currently, so I feel like a lot of the technical skills that I learned in my classes with data science or machine learning, I'm actually able to make a tangible difference in my workplace. And when I entered the program, I was really looking to enhance those technical skills, but also really understand how that can impact a business and how I can help that way. And I felt like this program really helped meet those goals. Whether it was through projects or just our homework assignments. And I feel like the program allows for you to really make those connections with your peers and your professors to meet all of your goals that you may have for the program.
Nice. And then Pearl, if you could share with us the MS marketing perspective with this one.
Yeah, of course. So I have a story again. When I was actually interviewing at Google, I was taking this class with Dr. J, and he was teaching us how to write a value proposition and how to position a business. And I was a product marketing manager at Kensington previously, but we didn't have like a structure for really how to say it in one sentence. And I learned that from Dr. J and applied it during my interview at Google, which really gave me that step up. And so I always think back to that moment as well as, without this program, I wouldn't have known that to maybe have gotten the job. So I think that's very valuable. And just, a lot of what the other students have said, you're learning a lot of technical skills and soft skills. There's a lot of group projects in the marketing program, and you're working with your professors one-on-one. I like that at the beginning of a module, they always ask you, what questions do you have at the start of this class that you would like to be solved by the end. And I always take advantage of that because I either message the professor one-on-one and try to get that, implemented into the next 10 weeks, or I kind of get it solved along the way. So I think that's really applicable. And yeah, I think a lot of the skills have been applicable to my daily job. And I find it valuable from both ends, whatever you're going to be doing. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Pearl. And Runa, if you'll take us home with the OMBA perspective.
Yeah, so this is a very well-rounded program. There are several data analytic focused classes and marketing focused classes that actually, as a business undergrad major, I was pleasantly surprised at the new depths that we go into from a curricular standpoint. Some of the hard skills I learned new programs around data analytics through this program. But some of the soft skills I also learned, particularly, I took advantage of doing 3 in-person classes, which you can actually do as part, even if you're an online student. And one of the in-person classes I took, which was probably one of my favorites in the whole program, was negotiations. Coming from a field that's very heavy negotiation based, I thought, well, let's see what this class is going to teach me, but it really provided a lot of structure to some of the practice I've already had, but I also learned some new concepts and really got to practice with fellow students on a weekly basis, again, in person. So there's a variety of skills that I learned online and by taking advantage of the in-person classes, which were all very diverse. As you get further along into the program, you're able to choose your classes and your electives a little bit more based on the concentration that you'd like to take, like to complete. So I ended up completing a concentration in leading innovative organizations. And from a management perspective, that was extremely helpful to me. I had just taken on in my professional career a new team with 10 new people reporting to me at different skill levels. And completing this program while working or by reflecting on my past career experience and on my future career goals really, really helped me to put some very hard concepts to what I see in the practical world. And completing the program, really, I was able to leverage that by speaking to my peers, by speaking to professors in a way that you can't always speak to people in your work environment as candidly and as openly as you might be able to in the classroom, and really, presenting a problem or presenting an initiative that you might have while completing the program. It just really helped to match both academics and practice and intertwine them in an elevated way that I just did not get from even being a business undergrad student.
Awesome. Thank you, Runa. And we'll kick it over to Joshua too, before we go on to the next slide.
Appreciate it. I mean, outstanding stories. And I think it just really speaks to the point of rigor and relevancy. And that's what we have here at the Leavey School of Business, the rigorousness of our curriculum, but really the relevance to industry or to the profession or job skills and requirements that's needed to have success. And so in the classroom, I can't overstate this, application and practice, whether you're discussing it, collaborating, presenting on it, or even writing about it. It's to make sure that you're having success in your career as you're taking your newfound knowledge from the classroom to your profession. I think that's one of the reasons why our Broncos are always accelerating in their professional careers, because they're constantly learning something new and implementing it in their industry, and people are taking notice. When we create the classes here, we don't start at the beginning, we start at the very end, and that means the student. We think about the student and what does a student need to have to learn to reach their professional goals. And from that point on, we move backwards to the question of, what do you want to get out of this class? And what are those questions? Because let's make sure we answer them. If you're looking to sit, take notes, read, go home, write a paper, come back, ingurgitate on the exam, that's not Santa Clara. You're going to ask to participate. You're going to get involved. We want to hear your thought process. We want to hear your critical thinking, your emotional intelligence. We are going to assist you in developing you into an outstanding professional. If you're one already, then you're going to add more strengths. And if you're just growing in a profession, we're going to give you that foundation to excel. So great examples.
Thank you so much for adding that, Joshua. Really thoughtful.
I do also want to add something, because I see a chat question here about, let's see, Saeed Azimi asked a question on how does the program support career change for individuals who do not have sufficient business or managerial experience. I do also want to share that there were people in the cohort from various levels of professional experience. There were both people coming from undergrad and professionals that had been working for 10 plus years. I would say, and the Santa Clara faculty team can share more on this, but I would say probably on average, people had a few years of working experience. Regardless of where you are in your career though, the program will give you soft and hard skills to elevate your career. I gave the example of my current professional full-time job working for a publicly traded company, and just knowing that I finished my master's, regardless of the skills I have through many years of working experience, they're now considering me for much higher ranking positions. So there's that component of it, but there's also just the skills and networking that you get from it at any level in your career.
Awesome. Thanks for feeling that, Runa. Really appreciate that. I know that's a question on a lot of people's minds. So Saeed, thank you for sending that in. And then moving on to the next, this was another question that I think we wanted to hear all perspectives on from the representatives from all programs. But as an online Leavey student or alum, which of the SCU career resources had the biggest impact on your career? Pearl, we can start with you just because I love hearing your story. So we'll kick things off with you.
Of course. So I want to name two. One, VMOC. That actually is a graduation requirement. So everyone will have to do it if you join the program. But I found it really useful. It's basically this tool where you put your resume through it and it generates all these changes that you can make to get a better resume. So they'll give you advice on maybe changing words to be more like verb oriented, like I don't know, leading or versus like just led or something like that. Just the littlest changes that maybe when you put your resume through a filter when you're applying for a job, it won't catch that word. And it'll give you a lot of great suggestions and how to maybe change how you wrote a sentence. So anyways, I found a lot of use in that. And then the second thing is Handshake. In Handshake, you can connect to a lot of the alum and also a lot of other I guess mentors that you can have when you're a part of Handshake. And I've met with so many from different companies, just hearing their perspective, kind of having coffee chats for 20 minutes here and there to understand, you know, what their position is like, what is the company like, to get a grasp of the inside scoop of if I would want to, you know, pursue a career there or not. So I found those two very, very useful and I use them all the time. So yeah, I would say those are my most impactful.
Awesome. Thanks, Pearl. Harpreet, how about you?
Thank you. I would say my top favorite would have been career coaching, which I use from day one to the very end. And I think it's very relevant and kind of relates back to like the previous question on how this impacts our day-to-day in our career is for a lot of you will notice as once you put on, you are currently enrolled in a Santa Clara master's program, recruiters reach out and fellow colleagues will reach out. And it does open up a lot of opportunities, and having those career coaches there to just use as a sounding board to go through ideas, to go through opportunities has been very beneficial. And I can speak on behalf of a lot of colleagues and peers I had in a lot of my classes is because they have a holistic approach to the current job market, and they'll give you kind of unfiltered advice. And it is part of a graduation requirement, but they're also there any time of day to answer any questions and just to kind of be the best sounding board they could be for anyone.
Great. And then Runa, how about you?
Yeah, I would say for me, probably two major contributors. The first is also the career coaching, and the second would be just alumni and fellow colleague relationships. I really benefited from having the one-on-one career coach. You, as some of the students here and alumni mentioned, it's a graduation requirement, but you can have you can schedule as many one-on-one career sessions with a coach as you like from the very beginning of the program to the end of the program. And Colleen Withers specifically, there was one career coach who stuck with me basically through the whole program. And we had several one-on-one phone calls, which I asked career related questions like, what about my LinkedIn? And very detailed questions on my LinkedIn. The resume workshop as well. And again, these are just questions that you can't always candidly ask somebody in your working environment. Because, you know, in a working environment, regardless of your goals, you may not be able to openly express your goals as much as you would like to, especially if you have very multifaceted goals like I do. But with a career coach from Santa Clara, that person will give you the most open-ended and honest advice and feedback based on what you specifically are looking for, which is very hard to find in a different environment. So the career coaching was really excellent. I asked big level questions and really detailed level questions like, what about this wording choice or something like that? And then the relationships with faculty as well. I remember being in a really hard spot kind of with specifically somebody who reports to me and not knowing how to best kind of handle that. In one of my more management focused classes, I brought that example up to the class and I really got some great feedback on how other students have done it or on their feedback on how they would do it. Which again, you can't always get even from in the working environment or even from friends or parents in the way that you'll be able to get from professors and from your peers.
Great. Thank you, Runa. And then Sans, love to hear your take.
Yeah. So again, like everyone said, I really thought the one-on-one career coaching was so impactful. I honestly went into it, my first session, not expecting it to be as helpful, thinking like, oh, what could happen in like a 30-minute session? But I was so surprised by how casually you could ask any type of question. If you had any concerns about where your career was going, you could ask the most vague questions and they would really help you determine maybe what would be the best fit, maybe open up avenues or show you new perspectives that you never would have even thought of, because they do have years and years of experience in whatever space that you're trying to break into. And there are so many counselors that you could really find someone that is like a perfect fit for you, someone who'd be able to give you like the best kind of advice. And I found it to be more helpful than I could ever explain. And then I feel like we were able to really use VMOC and the career counseling to make sure my resume was the best that it could be. My LinkedIn looked good. So that way people were reaching out to me rather than me having to reach out to people for interviews, jobs like that. So all around, all the career resources, I would really recommend that if you do join the program, you really take advantage of from like day one.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Sans. All right. I think this next one is one of the last ones about tips. So tips and tricks to share, right? Every prospective students really want to hear about these, and I do too. So Harpreet, if you can, what tips do you have for prospective students who want to make the most of SCU's resources in their own career?
Yes, happy to share. I would say there's a few. First would be, as many of my peers have shared, to make the most of your network, whether it be with your peers or your professors. They are also very well connected, and they're always just a good sounding board and always just an inspiration for new ideas and ways to do business. So make the most of networking. SCU has various networking sessions throughout the year or throughout the tenure of your program. So make use of those. There's some online, some in person. I would say make use of the career coaching. As the peers have shared, they're available almost any time of day. So make those appointments, connect with them, and build that rapport throughout your journey, because they can always be of help and make those difficult decisions with you. And I would say last but not least, just be as involved as possible. This program does go by pretty quickly, whether it be a program of 9 months or 3 years, it does fly by. So take a pause every now and then and just make the most of it by either joining some of the more casual events or going to the more formal networking, but try to make the most of your experience and reach out to us. Us alumni are always very happy to be of any help and answer any questions you may have.
Great advice, Harpreet. Thank you. Runa, what about you? What tips do you have to share?
I think what Harpreet said was really all great advice, honestly. I would just say make the most of it. To summarize, really makes the most of the opportunities. I know, especially if you're working full-time and doing this program full-time, you know, your time will be limited. And of course, you have your own social life, family life, and outside life as well. But there's so many resources available to you while you're completing the program and even afterward. There's events, there's every week you'll get kind of an email on what's happening in the online graduate program with different details and events and a reminder on the resources. And like Harpreet said, just take a pause and really make the most of it, because it goes by quickly. While you're in it, it feels like it's you know, it's hard to get through with the more activities you have, but it goes by so quickly. And the more resources that I was able to take advantage of, the more connections I was able to bond with. That's what I really remember now, in addition to obviously the skills I learned. So take advantage of it, make the most of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Runa. And then Sans, if you've got anything to add.
Honestly, I think that Harpreet and Runa really emphasize the key aspect of making the most of it. Like, I'd like to echo that same concept. It goes by so quick, but there are like so many resources at your fingertips once you become a student at Santa Clara, and it's just really important to be aware of it and, you know, make those connections with your peers, with your professors. Like, I've had the same professor for multiple classes, which is really awesome. So you can like actually build a connection, even if it's an accelerated program. So just be present and take them like advantage of everything.
Love it. Make the most of it, right? Great advice across the board. So this next one, I believe this is our last one. I know we've got some questions streaming in, so definitely want to save some time for those. But Shauna, would love to hear from you about how students can utilize the SCU Alumni Network in their career.
Definitely. So there are a variety of different ways to connect with our alums. From what I've heard from students, when I'm having like a one-on-one coaching appointment with a student, we'll go through a few options. So one, you can tap into the alumni network just through LinkedIn. So even just going through our Leavey School of Business page, you can see where our alumni are on LinkedIn and actually reach out to them there. We have our closed LinkedIn group as well, which is just for current students and alumni, where we will post jobs, but also alums will post opportunities as well. And the other thing is joining our events. So even our alumni panels is a great way to connect with alums. We recently had a panel this past spring focused on wealth management, careers in wealth management. And one of our students was networking with one of our alumni panelists, and now they are working for Morgan Stanley through that connection. So it's moments like that, and that you just never know when those connections are going to happen, but you have to be proactive. And it's not going to come to you. You have to be putting yourself forward and attending these different workshops. Virtually is totally fine as well if you can't come in person, but we do several networking events as well. So we have our pretty large networking bash coming up in October. Last year, we had around 250 students and alumni attend. Really great networking opportunity. And most likely what we'll do is we'll divide it up again by functional area. So depending on where your interests are, the alumni or the students will be there to network with. So there are many different opportunities where you can have that organic networking. Another resource that you could utilize is Bronco Exchange. This is a somewhat new platform. I think it's been launched on campus for about a year now, but this supports the entire university. So not only would you be tapping into the Leavey School of Business alumni network, but also the larger Santa Clara University community. And it's basically a alumni student mentorship tool where you can message and connect with alums or students who have opted in to provide advice and reach out to them for career advice. So it's like a messaging platform. You can do phone calls through the platform or video chat through the platform as well. And what's great is that the alums are opting in to use the platform. So it kind of eliminates that awkward moment where you don't really want to reach out to someone you haven't met before, where anyone on that platform is opting in to have those conversations. So I think that's a really great new tool, and we're really trying to invigorate and get students excited about utilizing that platform for sure.
Nice. That's really thoughtfully designed. And it sounded like what you were saying in the beginning was just echoing what others have said, is make the most of it, right, Shauna? So I really appreciate that. But yeah, all right, we'll move on to the questions, the Q&A portion. There are a few questions that were asked in the chat, and I'm going to just comb through here quickly to make sure that we're not missing any. I know, Patrick, you had asked one that Shauna actually addressed. Will there be any comprehensive career stats shared? I wasn't able to find a career report on your website. To that, Shauna said that the majority of our students 6 months post-grad have self-reported employment. Students go into a multitude of industries and roles, depending on the program, but around 30% are in the tech industry. Majority are working in the Bay Area. So thanks for sharing that, Shauna, with Patrick and with everyone else. Hopefully that answered the question, Patrick, but if you have anything to add, Shauna, feel free.
Yeah, I was just going to add, if it's specific to finance, our students generally are looking at, financial analyst roles. They move into FP&A roles as well, or even data analyst positions that are within finance teams specifically. But it is really across a variety of industries as well. So fintech is something you're interested in. That's certainly a space where we have alums and students that have moved into. Yeah.
Nice. Great. And then let's see. Do you have any information on estimated time commitments for a student enrolled in the part-time online MSFA? So across the board, Vinit, if you're looking to graduate the program that you're in the minimum amount of time required, it's the guidance that we provide is usually around 15 or 20 hours. Some weeks you'll have more and some you may have less, but I think that's a good general guide. Jeremy asked an interesting question here. Given the number of generative AI ChatGPT offerings, how is Leavey addressing this in the curriculum to improve efficiency, forecast opportunity, and so on? Does anybody have anybody want to chime in with that?
I know amongst the educational landscape, ChatGPT has been spoken about quite often.
Quite a bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, from my desk as assistant dean, most of it's been making sure that we are maintaining the rigor as well as reliability and value to the students' work, and that we're monitoring ChatGPT from a student's research perspective. But I do know that anecdotally, there are faculty members that are now using ChatGPT within their projects. I know in IS, there's a project with ChatGPT that they're using now. I don't know the specifics, but I know that faculty members are starting to look at ChatGPT and say, hey, how can we utilize this tool to teach about it, learn more about it with specifics in the class objectives in itself. But that's as much information as I have. I don't have the specifics. It's still new, and faculty members are starting to look at it and incorporate it in their curriculum as we move forward into the next 23-24 academic year.
Nice. Thanks, Joshua. And also, I think one thing that is very unique about faculty at SCU is they're really given a lot they have the ability to update their curriculum very frequently. And so that's something that you'll probably, there'll be more to come on that, but I think that's something, because historically speaking, the world of academia can be a little bit slow moving to things like that. But I think Santa Clara is a place where that isn't really true. But let's dive into some of these. So the first one we answered live, Saeed is asking if you'd briefly talk about your capstone project. So my mind goes to the experiential learning portions of MSBA and MSFA. If you could talk, maybe Sans or Harpreet, if you could talk about your practicum experience.
Yeah, I can go ahead first. So I think two things that were like really applicable learning opportunities at in the MSBA program was, one, the capstone project, and two, the business analytics showdown that we got to take a part of. So for the capstone specifically, how it works is we're randomly assigned groups, and we're able to kind of rank the companies that we would work with. We're given a little bit of a spiel about what the project we'll be working on with the company is. And for 2 quarters, you work with your group, a professor, and the industry mentor, I guess you could say, to work on a project together, which is something that will actually be used for the company. So for me, we actually helped create a software to predict profitability for commercial real estate, which is something that, coming from like a data engineer background, that's not something I thought that I'd be working with. But it was, I think, one of the most valuable experiences, because I learned so much about a field that I didn't know before. And I actually found out that I was really interested in this, and I was able to create a software from scratch. And, that company will be using that work in the future. So I think that was really cool, because you got to work with the team to create like an actual product. And I don't think that's something that you really get to experience anywhere else other than a program like this. And then similarly, in the business analytics showdown, you get an opportunity to work with a team, kind of like in a competition space. Everyone is using the same data, and you have to create something and give some valuable advice depending on, I think every quarter it kind of switches with the company you're working with is and like the data you're doing and your goals. But I thought both of these experiences were super unique. So you really learn a lot about how the skills you learn in this program really translate in like an actual company in that kind of space. Hopefully that
Awesome.
was it.
Thank you, Sans. I know we only have a couple of minutes left here, so I want to get through as much as we can. I think I saw Shauna typing for the average starting salary details question. Did you answer that one, Shauna?
I was just in the process of typing it out. I think it really depends on the industry that you're moving into or looking at, but there is, just looking at the brochure that we have, and I think the average salary reported was around 167,000, but I really think that depends on like where you're moving into.
Yeah, it's such a open question because it depends on years of experience, industry, and all of that other stuff. But there is some stuff posted on the online specific website about that. Depending on which program you're interested in, you can find some of that there, or connect with me after. My email address, I'll actually change the slide so that you can see my contact info, so you can reach out to me if you have questions. MBA program, minimum amount of time, 2 years? No, you actually have up until I think about 5 years to complete the degree. Minimum amount of time to complete is 2 years, max is about 5 years. Prit is
sorry about that. I totally typed that and answered it incorrectly, meaning I misread the question. You can also finish it earlier too. So we do have students that will finish before 2 years. So it's extremely flexible. But yes, Junaid is correct. 2 to 5 years is, it just depends on how you want to go about it. And there's plenty of coaching from our program, our student services team that will assist you. So sorry about that.
No, that's all good, Joshua. I appreciate that. Prit is asking, what would you say is the ideal student to get accepted from an admissions perspective? Another question, Prit, that's kind of very gray. I will say that the cohorts are very diverse. And I think that's something that we really pride ourselves on is when you're in a program, when you're in a cohort, you're with people who have 2 or 3 years of experience, you're with people that have 20 years of experience, you're with people from different sectors that are represented in the program. So diversity is a huge part of it. I wouldn't say there's like an ideal candidate or anything like that. It's just so specific to what your situation is. But if you are considering applying and you want to know if you make a strong candidate for a program, then feel free to reach out. Contact info is displayed here on the screen. Question for Harpreet: how will you be leveraging the MSFA degree now that you have finished in your banking career? I see you typing now, Harpreet. Do you want to just take it live?
Yes, happy to. I would say the program has opened up a variety of opportunities, and I'm still weighing out some options, but I would say the best case scenario is it really just opens up a lot of opportunities. And the beauty of that is in the current day and age, it just gives you some options to work with. And I think with the analytics part, it opened up a lot of opportunities to learn areas I had never known about. I was a little more familiar on the finance side, but being able to marry the two and understand both on a higher level, it's just opened up a variety of opportunities, and I just hope to utilize that going forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Harpreet. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. We do have deadlines coming up for the fall term, so if you're interested in applying, reach out to myself or my colleague Lynn, and we'll be happy to help. Panelists, thank you so much for joining. All of the attendees, thank you for joining, and hopefully we'll be connecting with you all soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.